Hello and welcome to another update video about Ethereum. So Ethereum has only just now reached resistance basically. It has touched resistance and so a first rejection. The wave count is basically unchanged and we've seen that, you could say, expected initial reaction to the ascending trend line that I shared with you yesterday. We talked about, okay, maybe when the price comes down to this trend line, we might see a reaction and it could potentially form a head and shoulders pattern here with a left shoulder, a head and a right shoulder, even though the right shoulder should be quite weak if we're talking about an impulse to the downside in wave C, in which resistance is at 2,382. So to keep it impulsive on the way down in wave C, the price shouldn't really in a wave 4 break above $2,382. If it does, it would still be okay as long as it's not a sustained break. So if we get a wick above it and then break down again, I could still count it as an impulse down. Okay, if it gets a more substantial break, we can still deal with the question, is it maybe a diagonal to the downside? But overall, at the moment, this is the initial line of resistance or initial range of resistance, and we have really only entered it. So there's at the moment no sign that Ether wants to break resistance. Also, Bitcoin hasn't been successful in breaking resistance earlier today. So, as I said yesterday, as long as not even the 2,382 level is broken, I watch for at least one more low, maybe two. And I think, however, we could see a bit more of a bounce. The next micro resistance levels or the next lines of resistance are 2,267. We've had an initial reaction there already. Then 2,330 and 2,382. There could be some structural resistance here, where these previous swing highs are, around 2,350. And also we had these previous swing highs from the 22nd of December and 14th of December and even 5th of December. So they act potentially as additional resistance as we go a little higher, if we go higher, okay? So again, just in other words, as long as the resistance isn't broken, downside pressure remains high. And it might form a head and shoulders pattern, but for now, let's see if resistance is holding. I think we could be in this fourth wave at the moment. I shared with you 2 micro counts yesterday. By the way, this is a bullish scenario. We are simply observing currently a decline in wave C of wave 2, which is an overall corrective pattern, which in the third wave then should lead to 3,500 plus. The question I'm dealing with at the moment is, okay, we've got 2 scenarios here. One of them, which is the white count, which is currently my working count. It's currently what I follow primarily. It's 1, 2, 3, and another 4, 5 pattern would be needed to complete a C wave. If we get another lower high and another lower low, then it's the yellow count. It just means that after the next low, we have to be mindful that if the rally is corrective, it would probably be the yellow count. And then we might sort of end here somewhere around 2017, $1,911 as support. So yeah, I mean, there isn't really any change to yesterday. I would have to change the microstructure. If there is a break above 2,382, I would then still explore if maybe we're dealing with a diagonal pattern to the downside. Then we can still look for resistance at the golden ratio, but that would already be very high for any wave 4, even in a diagonal. That would be 2,435. Any break above that level, however, would indicate that this immediate move down, this move down is over. And then we will have to explore, okay, how does the structure to the upside look like? But basically, at the moment, it would look, I would prefer another low or maybe even 2 more lows, just structurally, okay? Just structurally. Bear in mind, it can always form a low in a WXY structure. I have to say it very clearly. It can always form a low. At the moment, however, I have no evidence it has formed a low. Okay, so the idea needs to be that, okay, we have an ABC that's basically the most probable structure, most probable outcome in any correction. Okay, if it doesn't complete, then yeah, it might be a WXY, but I cannot say that until I have 5 waves up above resistance, followed by a 3-wave pullback. I hope that makes sense. Yeah, that's sort of the update at the moment. Really not much more to update. We're still in a bullish market. We are simply in a pullback in a bullish market. That's my perspective. Could be wrong about that. Which level will prove me wrong? It's the 1680 level down there, or 1677. That is the main support region for this wave 2. It's far away due to this ridiculously high B wave that formed. Technically speaking, the current pullback has a lot of space before getting invalidated. Basically, the scenario I'm playing with here is going to be my preferred scenario as long as the price stays above 1677. That doesn't mean it has to go down that much. It just means basically it's the buffer it has if it needs to use that correction, which is quite bullish because we're far away from it, and the market still has a lot of space. And the likelihood is that even if we go down lower, there's a high likelihood we get at least a corrective bounce from somewhere there that could be substantial. Also looking at the indicators, for example. But, you know, at the moment, we are still in correction mode. We're still watching for lower prices until we see a first impulse above resistance. That's my update about Ether. Hope you liked the update. If you did, please hit the like button, leave a comment, and subscribe. And if you really like the content, then please check out the channel membership. Also, make sure that you follow us on Instagram and Twitter for additional content. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye-bye.